Welcome to ACC Student News.
The news students can use. I'm Austin.
And I'm Noemi. Here are this week's stories.
Alabama executed a convicted murderer with nitrogen gas, making Kenneth Eugene Smith to be the first ever person to be executed in this fashion. The state said that the execution would be humane, but many critics have said this to be cruel and experimental. This marked the first time that a new execution method was used since lethal injection.
Gaza Aid Agency is in desperate need after more than half the countries have halted funding. In the UK, Germany, and Italy are among the countries who have halted funding. Announcing its late decisions to suspend payment, Japan's foreign ministry said that they were extremely concerned about the alleged involvement of United Nations Relief and Works Agency staff members in the terror attack on Israel. More than 26,000 people, mostly women and children, have been killed in Gaza since Israel launched a major military operation in response.
The Indiana State Senate Committee unanimously voted 8-0 to advance legislation barring people from protesting outside somebody's home. Now stated under Senate Bill 348, persons who protest or picket outside a residence with the intent to harass a resident of the home would initially be subject to a warning by police and an order to peacefully disperse. Any further warnings can be fined up to $500, even if standing on a public domain such as a street or sidewalk.
Amelia Earhart is worldwide known as the first woman to attempt to fly around the world and go missing during her journey. Nearly 87 years after her disappearance, underwater archaeologists and marine robotic experts believe that they have found the plane that Earhart was last seen in. They have discovered this by using sonar imaging, a tool for mapping the ocean floor that uses sound waves to measure the distance from the seabed to the surface. Tony Romero, the chief executive of Deep Sea Vision, believes him and his team have finally found Earhart's plane, the Lockheed Model 10E Electra, in the Pacific Ocean. He will not give the precise location.
A statue of Jackie Robinson was reported to be stolen from a youth baseball field in Wichita, Kansas. This statue was stolen at night by two individuals and then loaded into a truck. Jackie Robinson's statue was cut off by its ankles, leaving only the feet remaining where the statue once was. Firefighters reported to a dumpster fire, reported to have found the statue, and stated it was in an irreparable state. Once word had gotten out, an online fundraiser was started where currently over $180,000 have been raised, including donations from the Major League Baseball themselves.
Elon Musk's company called Neuralink is putting brain chips into people's heads. The first patient went under the procedure and is recovering, Musk says. He also states he would like an app to translate brain signals into moving a cursor or produce text. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved the clinical trials in May 2023.
Toyota urges a mass recall of thousands of cars due to deadly airbags. Toyota has issued an immediate recall regarding defects having to do with the 2003, 2004 Corolla, the Corolla Matrix, and a 2004-2005 RAV4 vehicles due to a deadly error regarding the Takata airbags. The airbags have a potential risk of exploding and shooting sharp metal fragments that could seriously injure or kill drivers and passengers. Toyota hopes to fix its error by claiming it will repair or replace these airbags free of charge, since the recall will affect at least 50,000 vehicles just within the U.S.
A therapy horse that helps kids with special needs almost suffered catastrophic injuries after he got stuck in a tree. Joe the horse was in the pasture when it was time to go back into the barn at Exceptional Equestrians Unlimited, a nonprofit based in Maryville, Indiana. When the workers went to go bring horses in from the pasture, workers said their ankles were deep in mud from the rain and snow. The worker noticed Joe standing under the tree, but he wasn't moving. The Hobart Fire Department helped flip Joe over so he wouldn't injure himself on the tree getting up. Joe, who suffered from aberrations, is not out of the woods, but is doing much better.
Indiana lawmaker flashes a gun. A viral video shows an Indiana lawmaker flashing a gun to students who were visiting the State House to talk about gun control. State Representative Jim Lucas was caught on the video talking to students about how people should protect themselves and referenced failures of law enforcement to prevent mass casualties during school shootings. 6 minutes into the 10-minute video, he started saying that carrying right now and opening his suit jacket, exposing a holstered gun. He continued to tell the students to go to a gun range and learn how to shoot. Indiana lawmakers and their staff are allowed to carry in the Capitol, and a bill introduced this year would extend that right to become statewide elected officials and staff. Stay tuned for more news.
After a short break.
Welcome back to ACC Student News. I'm Ryan Rose.
And I'm Paige Hale. Here are more stories from this week's news.
Recently, a man from Chicago who invaded a local home was charged. In Munster, 4 men broke in and robbed a family at gunpoint. The police later recovered 2 cars that were seen leaving the scene of the crime. After searching the vehicles, evidence was found leading to the arrest of Elkin Castillo, who was taken into custody in November. The 47-year-old man has been charged with 10 felonies for the home invasion. The charges include multiple counts of burglary, robbery, armed robbery, and criminal confinement.
In Whiting, Indiana, the BP oil refinery was seen with several smokestack fire with black smoke that was visible. The cause of the fire was reported as a power outage. All non-essential workers and some people in the surrounding area were evacuated with no injuries were reported. This is the second incident in a month from the refinery, as it just recently had a gas leak which spread odors all over the suburbs.
Russia and Ukraine have exchanged hundreds of prisoners of war in the first swap since Ukraine's deadly plane crash. Officials in Russia claim they have received 207 soldiers, and Ukrainian officials claim they have received 195. There has been several large prisoner changes since the beginning of the conflict, but it was unclear whether these trades would continue between the countries, since Moscow accused Ukraine of shooting down a military transport plane. This is the 50th swap since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022.
The Indiana House has approved that the Hammond food and beverage tax bill will rise 1% and will begin on July 1st in all dine-in and take-home bars and outlets. This also has been a vote of 67-29, and now it moves to the Senate. The tax will be used for the Westlake Corridor Extension Project, downtown redevelopment, and improvement of the Wolf Lake and the Hammond Complex.
Circus animals were rescued after truck catches fire on Indiana Highway. At 2 a.m., tractor-trailer carrying 5 zebras and 4 camels engulfed into flames along Interstate 69. The trailer was coming from Florida to Fort Wayne, Indiana, for an annual fundraiser. The interstate was closed until 6:30 a.m. as a result of the fire. The cause of the fire is still unknown, but reports say that all the animals and the driver are fine and sustain no injuries.
Every year on February 2nd, the groundhog predicts when winter will end. This groundhog has been predicting this since 1887 in Pennsylvania. If the groundhog sees his shadow, that means there will be 6 more weeks of winter, but if he doesn't see a shadow, that means spring will come early and winter will end in 3 weeks. Today, the groundhog predicted that winter will end early and spring should start and the weather should start getting warmer outside.
That's all we have for this week. I'm Ryan Rose.
I'm Paige Hale. Make sure to check out the rest of our videos on our YouTube, ACC TV Hammond.